Yes, the jury here at Mold Crown Court just in the last 5 minutes or so coming to that verdict. In the end, their deliberations taking under 5 hours. They went out at around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon after hearing what has to be said, very difficult evidence detailing the conditions that Kaylea Titford, that 16-year-old disabled teenager, was living in. She was found dead in her home on the 10th of October 2020. Paramedics who attended the initial 999 call out found her unresponsive in bed in a room that was filled with junk food cartons, incontinence pads that were soiled, and a room that was full of rubbish and described by one police officer as quite revolting. He described the stench in the room that Kaylea was living in as being something that made him wretched. He describing it quite simply as something that he had never smelt before. Now, Kaylea's mother, Sarah Lloyd-Jones, excuse me, we are assembling here just for a police press conference, if you're seeing someone in front of our frame there. Sarah Lloyd-Jones, Kaylea Titford's mother, had earlier pleaded guilty to that charge of gross negligent manslaughter, but that is something which Alan Titford, her father, who's 45, denied. The jury here, though, finding that he was as equally responsible for the conditions that his daughter were living in, which led to her death, which a pathologist said was due to infections caused by ulcers on her legs that had been left untreated. Her parents saying that they hadn't taken their daughter to see a doctor because of the COVID lockdowns that were in place at that time. Teachers describing this teenager who had spina bifida, who was in a wheelchair, but they described her as someone who was lively, fiercely independent, someone who'd even been considered to join the Paralympic basketball team at one point, but at the time of her death weighed more than 22 stone, was in a terrible physical condition. Forensics teams saying that it felt like she hadn't been washed properly for several weeks. And today, her father, Alan Titford, being found guilty of her manslaughter by gross neglect. We understand sentencing is due for both Alan Titford and Kaylea's mother, Sarah Lloyd-Jones, will take place in Swansea on March 1st.